So I always say putting a new front door in when you're going to sell a home makes a huge difference. Buying real estate is all like an emotional purchase most of the time. So if you have a brand new front door, it just kind of opens up the home and gets you excited for see what else is in the home. This is obviously just a solid panel door, really not attractive, doesn't bring any light into this beautiful space, this foyer room. So what I want to do is change this out. This is a 32-inch door. I've always hated 32-inch doors because it's really hard to get appliances in and out of your home. So we're going to upgrade this to a 36-inch wide door. So I'm going to show you in this situation what we're going to get into as far as what it's going to take to be able to expand this opening. And we're going to get rid of this really ugly screen door as well. It's always gets caught on things and it doesn't work very well. Let's just take out the hinges so we can take off the actual door. All right, let's get this stupid screen door off of here. Okay, so for a 36-inch door, you usually need about 37 and a half-inch opening. So just double check what our door is here. So the time you need 37. Yeah, 37 and a half inches. So one of the main reasons I wasn't concerned about opening up this thing is because the way this trim was installed looks terrible. Obviously really worn out. Everything's kind of falling apart. So I wanted to replace the trim anyways. And this is an old plaster wall. The ceiling is in really bad shape. So we're gonna have to basically take out this entire ceiling to re-drywall it. Has nothing to do with the door, but I want to take out all the plaster on either side of these walls, and then it's just going to be easier to drywall this. Because this is a top transom. I used to have a window that looked out. Obviously, it's painted over. So we need to get rid of all of that and then frame that in, and I'll just put new drywall on this wall. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out the jamb and get rid of this trim as well. Even though this used to be some pretty nice trim, we're just going to have to get some new stuff to match it up. You know what? I actually might keep these. These might actually be good to keep so that when I put the new trim on, I could at least put this for the base. I'm just going to simply cut through my jamb. See what we have here. Yeah, we got 38 and a half inches. Well, plenty of room. There's not going to be any real modification. A lot of these old door frames, that's kind of the way they were. They really had a lot of extra room. Obviously, the wood, you know, these old jambs were a lot thicker than they are today. You know, that's about an inch. So know when you're replacing an old door like this is probably, the original door is probably 1900s, 1920 or something like that. So you're going to have thicker lumber. So it's going to be easy to replace with a new door because of all the jambs are about 3/4 of an inch thick now. That's like It's like insul brick. Come here for a second. It's like insul brick over insul brick.
Yeah. Well, that's just like shingles, right?
Yeah. Go back. So yeah, this stuff is just like an insul brick over insul brick. I guess they wanted it green at the bottom. So rather than so this is just like a layer of asphalt. This is probably asbestos, honestly. You know what? I think I'm not going to disturb any more of this crap because it is. I guarantee it's asbestos. So I'll just nail this back in place, and we'll just fur out the top for the siding. There's like no sense in inhaling any more of that. I'm gonna go ahead and remove all of this as well. Get rid of these lath boards. The bathroom's actually directly above here, and I have a feeling I'm gonna end up replacing this stack going all the way up. So I'm gonna expose this entire area. We'll get the front door in. We'll just allow for 1/2-inch drywall on these walls. But this is gonna be a mess too. I've gotta remove all of this plaster. So I'm gonna move this door out of the way and get started on that. Nothing to it, just a little bit of demo. So we got everything cleaned up, and my main goal is just to get this door in so I can lock this place today. So again, those old frames used to be really much thicker than they are today, so typically you don't have any issues with having to putting in a new header. Now this old house, this was 1910, so it's balloon framing, and that would have been a real chore to have to frame this up to put a header in, because these studs go from here all the way to the roof line. So they're like 20-foot long studs that go from one floor to the other. That's just the way they used to build them back then. So thankfully we have 39 inches or 38 1/4. So that gives us about 3/4 of an inch of additional space to get this door in. But I have a waste stack here. This goes to the bathroom, obviously, and it's jetting out of the stud bay area. What I'm probably going to end up doing, because it looks like they actually, somebody attached to the existing cast iron up here, I'm probably going to just replace this whole stack, and I'll probably make it 3-inch so it can sit in the wall a little bit better. This is a 4-inch pipe, but I still need to get more depth. So you want to make sure when you're installing a door that you get the correct inside thickness correct, because you don't want to be putting extension jambs on the inside of the door. That's the worst thing you can do, because when you swing the door, the latch will hit the trim if you try to put it in extension jam out. So always try to get don't worry about the outside. We can adjust that trim the way we need it, but on the inside, we need to have that jam to where our finished wall is going to be. So I'm just going to simply put some 2x4s on to fur this whole wall out on this back end. So we'll be adding 1/2-inch drywall on top of that. Okay, so this always comes with door trim on here, this brick mold. I personally don't like it. I'm going to be putting a different type of trim on the outside. But a lot of people think that that this is supposed to stay on here when you install the door, and then basically throw this in and nail it in through the face. That's not really what this is. This is just a trim kit that they have for the outside door. And like I said, you want to always have the inside jamb with your finished inside wall, even with this door jamb. You don't want to be putting extension jambs out past these hinges, because when you swing the door, it'll just keep rubbing that paint off of the extension jamb. So always have your jamb even with the inside of the door frame. So a lot of times, unless you're in a new home, you pretty much have to take this brick mold off. So my plan is actually to remove this existing hardwood because I want to put laminate through the entire first floor. And I didn't, this is already scratched the hell out of it. And it was never a really nice finish to begin with. So I'm going to end up taking this out of here. So this is going to be my rough floor here. So basically adding another 1/2 inch or so. So now we got to get something down here so that we can raise this. And it looks like we basically need about 3 1/4 inches of height here. So I think I'll just rip down some, let's see what about 8 inches. So we'll get a 2x8, probably stack 2 2x8s to get us up to level here. What's that now?
I heard that one. She's always got it so dark.
Oh.
Now it's so light.
So if you could get yourself level with your subfloor, a lot of those laminate floors are only about 1/4 inch thick. So as long as this is nice and even with that, I'm pretty happy. Why don't you just video this real quick, babe? Okay, so we're gonna put these blocks right at 72, 41, and 10. This is basically where our hinges are. So starting up with the 72, since that's our smaller point here, I just got a 1/2 inch material here. Okay, so then we'll just make sure these blocks are level. This is going to represent our drywall. We're just going to stick a temporary block here so that we can gauge the depth with our jamb. And if you had 1/2 inch drywall, you can do it with that as well. This is just, I don't have any drywall here, so I'm just going to use this for reference. Okay, so then I'm going to dry fit the door first. And then what I want to do is put some silicone down here for the base. And that's basically just so that bugs and things can't come in through that. So I thought this door swung in this way, damn it. Let me just see if the door fits first. All right, that works well. I obviously wanted this to be on the hinge side, but since I already have this up and level, everything fit fine. So I'm just gonna go ahead and shim this when I go to screw it into place. So for right now, I'm gonna just put some silicone down here and then just keep, use those blocks where they're at. But ideally, it would have been better to have these on the hinge side. But really, just as long as you have something plumb to get everything aligned up to nicely. Okay, so I'm just going to use some clear sealant, and I'm just going to put it on my little aluminum apron here. And this is primarily, this is obviously underneath the porch area, so this is really never going to hit weather too much. But this is more for bugs and things so that they don't get underneath of there. But if you had a door that was somewhere where weather is going to be hitting it all the time, this is definitely really important because you don't want the water to be seeping underneath the door frame. Okay, so you just want to line your door jamb up with your 1/2 inch material. And we're going to just put some temporary should work. Okay. So then I would advise just lifting up your weather stripping and just get a regular screw behind your weather stripping on your door jamb side. Work. All right, good. So now we'll get the lock set on, and what we'll do is trim this out for our siding. And once we get the drywall inside, we'll finish this off, and we obviously got to frame our area above there. Works good. Okay, so the outside of the door frame, we're gonna make this pretty simple. Like I said, this is a covered porch, so we're not gonna have a lot of areas where rain is gonna be an issue with, you know, getting in behind this door. So we can kind of pretty much trim this out somewhat like a interior door to a certain extent. I'm gonna be putting new siding on the outside of this insul brick. You can see this old asbestos insul brick that we have here. So what I'm going to do is just use extension jambs to fill in the area between the insul brick and the door frame. And then I want to just provide enough space for my vinyl siding. And instead of having J-channel going around my trim, I want to be able to just tuck this siding directly underneath of the trim pieces. So it'll kind of be its own little J-channel, you could say. It's basically the sliding will slide in behind this part of the trim board. Now, this isn't going to be ideal for areas where you're going to have water penetration hitting the top of the door and coming down. We are going to put a little bit of a sealant against the trim and the siding above. But if you do have an area where there's going to be a lot of penetration with water, you're going to do something different. You might even just go ahead and just put this straight onto the insul brick and then use the J-channel to go around the door. I just don't like J-channel. I think it looks kind of ugly. The siding's already ugly enough as it is. So what we're going to do is just basically give myself enough space to slide the siding through. So just go ahead and measure that. So to my door frame, we got basically about 4 1/8. So that's what we'll make the extension jambs. 4 1/8. So yeah, we'll rip down the extension jambs, put this trim. Now this is Miratech. This is an exterior wood that once you paint it, it's gonna last a long time outside, but it's made to be like an outdoor type of material. So in that aspect, we're pretty good. But this is what I'm saying, is that you always want to put your extension jambs on the outside of the door, not on the inside, because with the door swing, there's no issues here. And if somebody wants to go ahead and put a storm door on top of this, that would be perfectly acceptable. We're just going to make sure that we give ourselves, you know, a good 1/2 inch reveal against the actual door frame. Simply nail this into place. $7 1/4. So we're going to use a staple gun on this one because I think it's going to be a little bit stronger of a hold on this trim. Now we can easily slide our trim behind here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and caulk this. What I really like to use is this Sherwin-Williams 1050 QD. This will allow me to hurry up and caulk this and then be able to paint this trim so we can get the siding on. Okay, so we got all our framing up. We're ready to go for drywall. You want to use a little bit of foam spray around the edges of all of your door here. So you're just filling all the gaps with foam. So really happy with the way this front door turned out. Really gives a great appearance coming in. And I always say when you're trying to sell a home, or if you're just even a homeowner, the presence coming into your home always makes a big difference. So hopefully some of these tips in this video has helped you out on how to change a smaller door into a bigger exterior door.